What's good, Chiefs Kingdom? It's your boys, Scott, Nick, Bo, on a victory edition of the Kingdom
What's good,
Cast.
Chiefs Kingdom?
10. What's that?
I think you looped through somehow.
Yeah, I had my speakers.
Okay. I thought when you said something. So, yeah, a little glitch here with the internet or something. But, yeah, welcome to the Kingdom Cast, Tuesday, 6 o'clock Kingdom time. We got a lot to talk about in this one. We're gonna do a lot of gloating about that ass whooping the Chiefs laid on the Raiders on national primetime Sunday Night Football. It was glorious. They were working in every aspect of the game. So we'll break that down here a little bit more as we move on into the show. But if this is your first time watching, or you haven't already clicked the like and subscribe button yet, I don't know what you're waiting for, but you can go ahead and do that now. It really helps out the show. Turn on those notifications if you're forgetful like I am. You can follow us on all of our social media platforms at The Kingdom Cast, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Twitch. I don't know if I'm remembering. I'm getting older, so I can't keep up with all the social media platforms these days. So glad you could come in. If you're watching us live, drop a comment, shoot us a question. We would love to get the Kingdom more involved in the show here. So we definitely welcome some interaction and want to know what y'all think. So how are you guys doing today? Nick?
I'm doing great, man. Chiefs kicked some Raider ass, undefeated out there in Las Vegas at their building. Arrowhead West as we're calling it, I think now. So, I think Scotty called it with, talking about Bosa, saying that, Derek Carr just fold under pressure. Just watched him fold like a cheap suit. As soon as we started getting to him, it looks like it was going to be a close game there for a minute, and then we just busted it wide open and just, ran away with it. Didn't quite get Bo's 50 burger that he was hoping for. Sorry about that, buddy.
It's close.
But it was great. It was great. Probably the most satisfying thing so far is watching all these people that have been, dogging the Chiefs, saying Patrick Mahomes is broke. Talking to you, Ryan Clark. Try to crawdad and sit there and go, well, when I said he's broke, you can fix things that are broke. Just watching everybody walk it back and then act like they never jumped off the Chiefs train has been very satisfying. So it's been fun a couple days for me. What about you, Bo?
Oh, what a week. What a week. It's great to win, but it's great to win by that much. And especially over the Raiders, we kicked their ass. So it just felt so good. Going on what Scott said, man, you get to Derek Carr, he chokes, and man, did he. That was a great game to watch. Hats off to everybody all around. We finally played some complimentary football. It's amazing what we can do when both the offense and the defense are clicking, and we saw it right there. I hope it continues through. But we'll get into that later as we talk about this game. How'd you feel about that game, Scott?
Oh, man, it was just good to see. And Nick said it did start off a little poorly. The Chiefs, they got the ball and they didn't score, and then they had the fumble on the punt return, and the defense got a stop, and then the Chiefs, they missed the field. But really for about 50 minutes of that game was just the Chiefs doing everything right. You saw what happens when the defense takes a little pressure off of the offense. You saw what happens when the receivers catch the ball. You saw what happens aside from the Hughes fumble on the punt return, which was actually a good return. It was a big play that maybe just step out of bounds a couple of yards earlier, dude. Tyreek had a fumble that luckily bounced back to him, but the Chiefs were due for a bounce. Every single bounce of the ball had been going the other team's way. So that kind of, that pendulum swung back our direction, and they were catching passes. They were making plays. The defense was getting stops. The offense was capitalizing off of it. We talked about the defensive line last episode. If they could keep up the performance with Chris Jones on the inside, Melvin Ingram and Frank Clark out there on the ends, if they could pressure the quarterback, that would help the defense. We saw that in this game. Nick mentioned Derek Carr, and they were pressuring him, and there was a few just, what the hell are you doing plays from him where he just, it was like an arm punt right on third down. They just chucking it up for grabs. Daniel Sorensen out-leaped Juan Thornhill for an interception. I thought that was kind of funny.
Surely that didn't.
Not trying to say that Dan Sorensen has been good this year or absolve him of any of his sins from earlier games. But, yeah, I mean, special teams had it going on, man. They had a fake punt that, Tommy Townsend threw another bullet out there. It turned out to be a huge play. Patrick Mahomes, 406 and 5 touches with no interceptions. I saw a stat that said since Patrick Mahomes was drafted, he has 3 games with at least 400 yards and 5 touchdown passes or more, and the rest of the league is combined for 4. He is just an assassin. He's a freak. He's the best quarterback in the league. All this nonsense we've been talking about, what's wrong with Mahomes, talking heads, they're all back on the bandwagon now. I saw all of them, Cowherd and Clark and everybody.
Yep.
Everybody
Snims. Yep.
Jumping on the bandwagon. So, yeah, just a lot of fun. Not gonna lie, seeing the shots, the still shots and the videos going in and out of commercial breaks from Vegas made me wish I was out there in the desert, out there in Las Vegas. I might need to plan a trip out there here pretty soon. But, yeah, just a great game. We'll just start talking about the offense first, I guess, here. Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Cheetah all had big games, kicked some ass. What stood out to you the most, Bo?
For me, it was definitely Patrick Mahomes getting back into rhythm. I mean, we've talked about it here. We never thought that anything was really wrong with him. We've discussed through and through how we all feel it's mostly the receivers dropping balls and that Patrick Mahomes was just fine. But, this game, he really looked like Patrick Mahomes of old, other than the fact that he didn't run. And we'll talk about that a little bit more. But, Chris Collinsworth even mentioned it on the broadcaster. Say what you will about him, but it was noticeable watching him throw in rhythm versus being panicked, watching his feet get set and not being too scrambled. It was just really refreshing to see. The defense, too, also stood out to me. Holding any team to 14 points. I noticed all 3 layers of defense just came out to play. Our DBs did great. Our linebackers did awesome. As you mentioned, the line tore it up. Melvin Ingram came in. Man, did he make his presence shown in this game. So, those are the things that stood out to me. What about you, Nick?
It just felt like a Chiefs win. Cheetah was out there making plays. Travis Kelce was destroying people, yards after catch, and Patrick Mahomes was doing Patrick Mahomes things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And part of what makes the Chiefs awesome to watch is that they kind of take some risks on some things and they pay off, right? And we've seen finally, right? And so it was great to, see that come back, right? We've got some pictures we're going to be throwing up throughout of some of these plays, but it just, I don't know, it just felt like they were in sync, and it felt like they, didn't abandon everything that makes them special. Mahomes was still doing the things that makes him special. Agree with Scott that, he didn't run, especially when, that touchdown pass to Williams was fun to see, I'd rather see him run for the first there, but it was good to see him do it. It was better to see him do it against the Raiders. I saw people picking the Raiders before the game started, and it's weird to see him pick the Raiders and they're in such disarray, and then just that result. It was great. Probably underrated is the defensive performance, only giving up 14 points there, forcing sacks, interceptions, a heck of a play punching the ball out there on a long pass play. It looked like the Raiders were in business. Really a turning point in the game, right?
Momentum killer.
Yeah. So it was a team win, and it was a lot of fun, man. Just felt like the first for real Chiefs game of the year, to be honest.
Right. Scott, how'd you feel about it?
Yeah, we've been waiting for this team all season.
Yeah.
and you saw it. My biggest takeaway is Patrick Mahomes. You guys, I know I've been ranting and raving all season on this show about just the lunacy and the ridiculousness of the criticism of Patrick Mahomes. And the talk of, is he come back down to earth? Has the league figured him out? And has he? No. The dude is still the best quarterback in the NFL, and it's not that close. So he had 5 touchdowns. He could have had 6 or 7. He airmailed one to, who was that, Robinson in the end zone. He kind of lofted it too far. Robinson had a step on his man in the end zone there, and I'm struggling to remember now. I want to say there was another pass that he
cheated on the sideline.
Yep.
That could have been a touchdown. So we could be talking about another 50 or 60 yards and 6 or 7 touchdown performance from the dude. He's the best. Period. Plain and simple. He's the best. He's the best quarterback in the NFL. He's the best player in the NFL. And when the offense doesn't let him down and when the defense takes a little bit of pressure off of him, you saw what he's capable of doing.
No doubt.
And there's very few quarterbacks in the league that can do what he does. And that stat that he's got three such games, like the one he had Sunday night, and the rest of the league is only combined for 4 since he was drafted. He didn't even play the first season. So he's got one less season on that data set, on that sample, and he's keeping even with the field.
And tied for the most all time, right?
Yeah, and tied for the most all time, and he's got 10, 12 years left to play. So he's gonna shred and burn. They're gonna have to get some new record books, and there's gonna be a really high bar set when it's all said and done for Patrick Mahomes' career on records and stats. The guy's he's unreal. Sometimes when you watch him, you just don't even believe what you're seeing. We had talked last week about was that third down play going to be a catalyst against the Packers the week before to Tyreek Hill to seal the game. What do you guys think? Do you think that play was some of his performance carryover from that? Do you think, Nick? I know you were kind of alluding to that last week.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it was definitely a confidence booster for him. You could see the way he reacted. That did it. Was it the catalyst? I mean, I don't know. Maybe we talk about that stuff and it means a lot to us. But if you were to, talk to the players, they probably don't give a shit about it. I know that, I was reading Peter King's article and he was talking to Mahomes after the game. And he's like, do you ever you haven't laid in bed and maybe stared at the ceiling at night and wondered, what's going on with me? Why? I mean, Mahomes was just like, no, I mean, I haven't. Yeah, no. Haven't done any of that, So
you mean he's not laying up at night thinking about what Dan Orlovsky's saying about him?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, it was definitely, I don't know. It just felt like a Mahomesian game. I mean, he started out with a left-handed pass, for a completion. It didn't get the first down, but I mean, you don't see other people doing these things. And like you said, they finally had the ball bounce their way a couple of times. We had some people come through too, right? Like, I'm going to throw this up on the screen. I mean, this catch that Williams had, I mean, this was just going up and getting the ball, right? And we haven't seen people make these plays in the past. So whether that one play was the catalyst or not, I don't know. I mean, it sounds good, and I mean, I know that I was talking about it, but at the end of the day, I think it just comes down to them executing better and just I don't know if wanting it more is an overplayed way of saying it, but
yeah. Go put that picture back up. Look how high off the ground his feet are.
Yeah,
right. Everybody on the sideline.
If you're watching the show right now, go outside or go in your garage and see if you can jump and get his feet are even with that guy's waistline behind him. Go see if you can jump that high in the air. That dude, that's freak athleticism right there.
This dude's face says it all, right? The guy in the background.
Right. Yeah, he's like a disbelief right back there. Just can't believe what he's seeing. I'd like to get that guy on the show sometime if you're watching or if someone knows who that guy is. Well, let's get him on and see what it looked like in person. Well, I tried to give Nick a layup there to take credit and run with the baton and say he called it, and he kind of poo-pooed that away. So, Bo, you kind of said the same thing. Do you think that was like a catalyst or motivation for him for that
I was
performance?
hopeful that it would be. I didn't necessarily think that it was, though. And I kind of feel like I said that last week. Even though it was a great game-ending play, it was just a 3rd and long, and we do that, 60% of the time.
Sounds like I'm trying to tee you guys up. And
I appreciate it. No, but I'm getting to the point that even during the first drive, I text you guys. It's like, well, so much for that momentum carrying over, because we immediately went 3 and out, right? So, I don't know if you can say that was the catalyst and it carried over by any means. If you go back and watch that first drive, I think it's like the 4th or 5th play in where they do a double fake handoff, one to the jet sweep, one to the running back. They both take off. Excuse me. I don't know why it sounded like Pat take off. Go down the field there. But they do 2 double fakes. Patrick Mahomes hides the ball. It's the same play in Point Break where Keanu Reeves does it, tosses it over Patrick Swayze, and touchdown. Same play, just not for a touchdown. I feel like that honestly might have been the play that turned everything around. A little trick play. Everybody was having fun. It got them comfortable, got them set. It was to 87. He gets yacked. So, so as far as that last play of the last game coming over, I don't think that was it. But, I think it was that baby step that I've been talking about all season, that baby step that we need to make. It might have been an incremental change that, get people like, hey, yeah, we can throw and catch.
Right.
Especially the Cheetah. You saw him open up 2 touchdowns. How many times did you see him go long this game and just he overthrew him 3 or 4 times? You know what I mean? Like, God, those could have been great plays. But no, I don't think it was the catalyst. But hey, we turned it on though, so I'll take that.
All right, well, I'm not lobbing up any more alley-oops for you guys anymore. So you missed your chance. I put it right above the rim for you, and you both.
Let's hear it. So, slam it home for us.
Yeah. The one thing we were talking about Patrick Mahomes, and he had an unbelievable performance. Clearly, what do you think is up with him not running the ball anymore? I don't. The Darrell Williams play was a fine play. I thought live that the defender had intercepted it and Darrell Williams had ripped it out of his hands at the last minute. There was a couple of defenders bearing down on Mahomes there, but if he wouldn't have slowed down to make that throw, he could have cut out to the right and got the first down, in my opinion. It looked like he had the first down easy with his legs. If they told him not to run the ball, I don't – it's the one thing that puzzles me still.
In his post game, he said he was going to run, and then he just saw Williams down there. He wasn't even supposed to be down there, and I think that he just, I think that Mahomes is that dude. He's just like, fuck it, let's go for it. I think he's got that Brett Favre pull the trigger.
We've seen him pick up a lot of critical first downs on 3rd downs and 3rd and longs and make big plays. Obviously, like the AFC Championship game touchdown run. That game, that's just his running has been absent, completely gone the last few weeks.
Right.
I think it's. I know he said he was thinking about running it there, and he was almost over the line of scrimmage. That would have been really a shame if he would have got a penalty there for throwing the ball when he had the run. Bo, what do you think?
As far as like him crossing the line of scrimmage, his awareness is second to none. That issue's come up multiple times in his career, and he always seems to just keep that toe right on the edge. So I wasn't too worried about that. I remember screaming, just run during that play. Everything had broken down, right? Like you said, there's 2 defenders, but like how many times have we seen him break off and make that first down? He did Patrick Mahomes magic, he chucked it down the field to his receivers. Receiver went up and got any other receiver though. If it's a receiver, not a running back, they talk about how great of a talent that is, what awareness he has to come back, make that play, and jump for it. And I think that's kind of getting overlooked. It's not really getting overlooked. It's kind of like the highlight play of the week. But, if a receiver makes that catch, you're talking about that's an all-star receiver. So hats off to Darren Williams. But I think he has been instructed not to run. The last couple times that he has ran, he looks very indecisive. He doesn't know if he wants to run or pass. And he kind of had that indecisiveness there about even passing, said he wanted to run, but then he saw him, so he decided to pass. And then he's also kind of lost the ball a couple of times when he's ran. So I think maybe he is kind of being instructed, don't run as much. But I think in this league, you got to run a little bit, especially when 10, 15 yards is open for you.
Not when you get 400 yards passing and 5 touchdowns, though.
Right, no doubt. No doubt. It's a weapon, though, that seems like he's been taken out of his arsenal.
Yeah,
maybe
I
he's saving
agree.
it for later. Maybe he's like, I don't know if people watch a lot of baseball that watch this show, but it's kind of like Whit Merrifield. He'll sit there and he'll take the first pitch for a strike for like 20 games in a row. And so then the pitcher thinks, I'm just going to throw it right down the middle. And he jumps on it and hits it for a home run. Maybe he's holding it back. Maybe he's trying to take that out of I don't know. I shudder to think that maybe he's hurt. It doesn't look like he's hurt when he's scrambling out of the pocket and doing the bootleg RPO things that he does. It's just really weird that it's almost like it hasn't even like it's like gradually phased out. It was just like overnight it was gone. It seems like So really
again, like I want to say, like 3 out of the last 5 runs he did, he lost the ball. He didn't lose it to the other team, but I mean it came out of his hands. You know what I mean? So there's probably a little bit of that too, kind of.
Yeah, I have to go back and look. I don't remember him losing the ball. I know in the Tennessee game he got punched out from behind, but he's been pretty. I want to say it seems like I remember him being pretty safe with the ball when he runs. He slides or gets out of bounds. But be interesting to see if that comes back at some point this season. We can go on. Travis Kelce. It was Kelce time. He owns the Raiders. They should probably build a statue of him when he retires at their stadium as well. Is at Arrowhead. He was crushing it. I think he had 8 or 9 catches for 120 yards. He was open for a couple of touchdown passes in the end zone that Mahomes threw to somebody else. So he could have tacked on a couple of scores there. There's been some talk maybe he was hurt, maybe he was dinged up these last few weeks. He was still leading the league for yards and catches by a tight end. He had 4 or 5 touchdowns, so it's not like he had fallen off the map. But he hadn't been the same reliable Kelce. What do you guys think? He had a terrific game. Nick?
Yeah, I mean, his ability to not only catch the ball and get yards after the catch, but his ability to chip block and to block before he does that is unreal. I mean, that long catch and run he had, I mean, he chip blocked before he caught the ball. And then there was that other one where, I mean, he literally prevented Mahomes from getting sacked. And then as soon as he turned the block loose, then Mahomes like threw the ball to him. So he like prevented the sack and then caught the ball and ran. So
or like 25 yards too.
Yeah, phenomenal talent, right? I mean, he's just, and like you said, it's so satisfying that he eats up the Raiders. You know, the Raiders fans just have to hate Travis Kelce, man. They just, like, I remember like Antonio Gates in his prime with Phillip Rivers and stuff. Like, I mean, there's just these players that like when they kill your team, you just hate them. And it's very satisfying to see us have one of those guys that can just kill a team, you know, over and over and over again. So
he's one of those players that seems like when he's on, the rest of the team's on, right? Like, and when he's down, the rest of the team's just down. Like we've seen Tyreek Hill kind of go off, but like the rest of the team's like, but like when Kelce's going off, the rest of the team seems inspired to play. And man, did he have a hell of a night. He looked really good last night. And yeah, you're showing the touchdown pass to Gray there, but you see him right in the background celebrating. I mean, they were both running cross routes towards each other, and you know, Mahomes just put it right instead of left, and yeah, they would have been his. But man, what a game!
Yeah, so hopefully we can see that, you know, moving forward here, get him back involved in the game plan, and yeah, it's just you almost think like if you're a Raiders fan, or even if you're like a coach, how do you not just like double or triple cover that guy every play and just be like, screw it, we'll lose some way else, you know?
Especially on third down. Like he gets thrown to like 70% of the time on third down. Like, how do you not know that?
All right, we're going to triple cover him. We're going to jam him at the line and double cover him on third down.
He still gets open.
Yeah, it's still got to be infuriating if you're a Raiders fan to watch Travis Kelce just every game. I mean, You got to be sitting there thinking, did the team forget the Chiefs have Travis Kelce? He crushed his Raiders. Tyreek Hill obviously had a big game as well. I want to say he came close to 100 yards, had 2 touchdowns. That first touchdown was a sweet play to him. Mahomes really just threw a dart to him. Yeah, it was that one. Yep, that play right there where threw it to the outside shoulder. Cheetah had his man. He had outside position on him, and then the other one was just I don't know. It's almost like we were just talking about. How do the Raiders seem to always forget that the Chiefs have Travis Kelce? How do you forget about Tyreek Hill at the goal line? Just let him run wide open in the back of the end zone
Twice.
Twice, yeah. He had 2. He was a little bit more covered on that touchdown there, but yeah, the other one for sure was there wasn't anybody within 5 yards of him.
I'll tell you how. It was designed bootleg runs, dude, or
Yeah.
RPOs, whatever it was. It was designed movement for Patrick Mahomes. It puts the defense in such disarray and such confusion that you lose Tyreek Hill or a Travis Kelce in that madness, you know?
Yeah, but if you're the Raiders, you got to tell somebody. I don't care if he's sitting on the bench. You still guard him on this play. They're at the goal line. I don't even care if he's in the game or not. He could be in the locker room getting an injury looked at. I want you to go sit in the locker room with him and make sure they don't throw the ball to him. So pretty incredible. Just an unbelievable explosive offensive performance. If they wouldn't have had that slow start on that first drive, they could have got that 50 burger that Bo's been looking for. I have a feeling that's coming. Let's talk about the defense a little bit.
Yeah.
Defense, people were wondering, is this a little bit of smoke and mirrors? Is this a little bit of fool's gold? The last couple opponents, they beat the Giants and defense holds them down, and then they hold the Packers to 7 points. But it was Jordan Love Packers. It wasn't Aaron Rodgers Packers. Once see them play a real opponent. The Raiders, they've obviously lost Henry Ruggs, who was their deep threat at wide receiver. They're a little depleted there. They, kind of made an emergency break glass signing with Deshaun Jackson. I don't think Deshaun Jackson has much left at this point in his career. But they were one of the high average scoring teams on offense in the NFL coming into this game. They had a 5-3 record. They were in first place, in large part, if not mostly, due to that offense. Derek Carr was up there in the top, 5-6 yards, touchdowns, things like that, passer rating coming into this game. They held him to 14. I want to say they held him for like 2 for 10 or 2 for 11, somewhere in there on third down.
Yeah.
They were pressuring him. They got an interception on the arm punt there, as I like to call it, when he was falling backwards and really just threw it up for grabs like you're playing 500 in the park.
Twice, right?
Your kid, yeah. Defense, what stood out to you most, Nick? Defense side of the ball?
Getting to the quarterback, frustrating the quarterback. Even here, you can see maybe 1 or 2 holds going on that may not have gotten called consistently throughout the game. Maybe. Chris Jones had back-to-back passes where he batted it down. I got a probably, meme of the week here where, it's – oh, I've got the wrong thing here. Hold on. Rookie. Meme, I'll bat it down and so I'll fucking do it again. So I love that meme. Every time I see it, I laugh. Just really getting pressure. And I think that, really struggled to get sacks throughout the year. Having Ingram, now that they've moved Chris Jones back inside, being able to disrupt plays. Really pretty good run defense, right? There's a few times where they just swallowed people up at the line, holding them to, a yard, 2-3 yards, getting them in those second and third and long situations. And then another thing that stood out to me is I saw a honey badger in the middle of several plays, right? He almost had a pick on that one turnover, and he was right there in some plays. So I don't know what got into him this past week, but really just, I think that, we're a much better team when he's getting involved and he's able to break some stuff up. So I just think that, it all starts with the lines, right? If you don't have a defensive line and an offensive line that are, doing their job down in and down out, then you're really going to struggle. And so seeing that defensive line get in the backfield, make some run stops, really just was my favorite part of the performance from them.
Yeah, to piggyback right off of that, there was a point during the broadcast where they brought up all these Chris Jones stats on the outside versus the inside. And I texted you guys right away. I was just like, weird. I know a podcast. They've been saying that since week 2.
Right.
So it was just like gratifying to know, like, okay, I kind of understand this game a little bit. But yeah, the defense, what an amazing job that they did. They actually came to play. We actually have a defense. Still don't think they're like the greatest. What up, John V?
What's up, John?
Guy, man.
Hey, John V's Niners smoked the Rams last night. I don't think anybody saw
the
that.
Rams. Holy cow. I was not expecting that. I turned on it on the TV just like, what?
Right.
But
they dominated them.
But yeah, our defense for the past 3 games now, holding teams under 20 points. I mean, that's how you're going to win football games on the defensive side anyway. I mean, if you don't score any points, that's not going to help. But I mean, our defense making those incremental changes, looking great. Like I said earlier, all 3 layers of defense looking good. Even Dirty Dan had an interception. Nick just brought it up. Mathau was around making plays. His name was being called out more than any other game I can remember this season. And big game for the defense. I'm really stoked on their performance.
Yeah, thanks John V for watching and tuning in and the shout out. And I know Raiders, they're like a shared enemy of the Chiefs and the 49ers. The Battle of the Bay. Before they left Oakland and went to Las Vegas. So there's no love lost there between the Raiders and the 49ers either. And if you Google NFL fights, some of the better ones were at 49ers Raiders games. So you got that going. That's a good rivalry. It's kind of a shame. They're obviously not in the same conference, but they would play almost every preseason, I want to say. And then, the division rotation, you get to see them, every 2-3 years. So kind of a bummer to see that go away and the team go to Las Vegas. Hopefully they can keep that rivalry going for sure. But yeah, I talked about it last week. The development of Chris Jones going back inside and Melvin Ingram and Frank Clark looking like he is back to the old Frank Clark from the Super Bowl run from 2 seasons ago. And he had some flashes last year where he was good too. I don't want to act like it's been since they won the Super Bowl that he was good. But to me, it's just Chris Jones is 2 things. He's the key to the defense playing on the inside because not only does he collapse the pocket and dominate in there and pressure the quarterback up the middle, but he gets his hands up and he has a knack for tipping and knocking the ball down as well. And you didn't really see that when he was on the outside. He had a huge play, and you might want to turn your volume off here, John V, in the Super Bowl where he batted that pass down and Kittle was open across the middle, and that was a huge play in that game. Huge play that a lot of people don't talk about. So to me, Chris Jones, if he's back in there where he belongs, that he unlocks this defense. Yeah. But the second part of that to me, and we'll get to John B's comment here in just a second, is why were they playing him on the edge for so long? Like who was that? Chris's call? Was that Spags' call? Was that I don't understand.
Yeah,
it's almost like you just created a problem. It would be like putting Patrick Mahomes at tight end or something to me. Why would you do that? It's just it kind of blows my mind, honestly.
I think we were all baffled by it when it happened, though. I mean, we're just like, what is this? And it clearly didn't work. And they went with it more. And we're just like, what's going on here, guys?
Right. And, I do this with things too. Maybe it's just as simple as just overthinking. Maybe they overthought it. Maybe what would be really great is if we could put them on the edge. And really, it just didn't work out. So kind of puzzling, kind of a conundrum. Why he was why they did that. He didn't really look that good in the preseason, and he did, and in training camp they had to have seen that his natural position is inside. But he's back where he belongs. It looks like now. His snap rate, his snap counts on the inside of the tackle position are increasing each week.
But I mean, with him on the inside, look at this stat coming. Wait, there it is, right here. Dude, they held Waller, the tight end, just to what is it there? 24 yards, and then the running back Jacobs to 16 yards. Like, that's the difference of having him on the outside versus the inside. They have no run game. 16 yards, man. Like,
yeah. No, they didn't. No, yeah, it was just they.
Well,
they
look, I mean, you try things, and if they work out, then you look like a genius, right? I mean, if he becomes a premier, edge rusher, I'm sure they're sitting there thinking that having a premier edge rusher is more disruptive and more valuable than having a guy in the middle of the line that can, sometimes get to the QB. So I understand why they would want to, try that. They didn't really have anybody else on the edge that was, capable of getting to the quarterback. I just, the baffling thing to me is why the hell did they wait so long to say this isn't working and to go back? Why do you wait until, you're under 500 almost midway through the season before you're like, okay, well, like we got to change some things up. I mean, experimenting when you're 7-1 is different than experimenting when you're 3-4. So
right.
And you want to give yourself a large enough sample size to know if it's just you move him out there and he doesn't play as good for one game. You don't just want to abandon the plan. But 10 games seemed a little excessive to me.
Right.
And of course we're opining and speculating here. There's a lot of inside information we don't know. Maybe Frank Clark being injured had a lot to do with that.
Yeah.
And not performing. There could be a number of things that we're not privy to.
Getting suspended, right?
That led to that. So, but it's good to see Chris back in there. When you dominate a team on offense, on defense, and special teams, that's how you win 41-14.
Right.
So, really encouraging. Like I said a little bit ago, this is kind of the team we've been waiting for.
Exactly.
And we're gonna see how it goes. Well, let's talk real quick before we move on to the next game. This puts the Chiefs now, albeit it's kind of a weird position with some other teams in the division having had their bye week already. But it puts the Chiefs in first place, week 11. We've been used to the Chiefs front running this division for the last several years. They've had to work a little bit harder, had to face a little adversity, but they're back to 6-4. They are in the win column, at least one game behind the Titans, who have the tiebreaker. So it's kind of like being behind two games. But they're right up in there now with the Bills and the Ravens and all these other teams with 6 wins.
You guys remember
they're figuring some things out.
You guys remember what our record was in 2019 at week 10?
6-4.
6-4.
6-4. And we lost to the Titans that year, I want to say. So, yes, some good coincidences going on there. Chiefs are in first place in the division. Looks like maybe the Raiders, with the coaching turmoil and losing some first-round players, picks, are maybe in a nosedive. The Chargers are definitely in a nosedive when you look at what they've done. And it's not recent. That's going back to that Ravens game, which was 4 or 5 weeks ago. They are looking like maybe they weren't quite ready to be out in the front. It's a long season, obviously. But John there says, I love that take a month ago, and everybody said the Chiefs were done, figured out, and washed. Yeah, no, exactly. But when it's just to be expected, though. When people don't like seeing the same players and the same team dominate year in, year out. You saw it with the Patriots when they had Tom Brady. You saw it, I mean, even back in the day, back when the Niners, John's team, when they were crushing the NFC, there's always people that it's novel and it's cute at first, but then people get tired of it. And so then they want to start trying to nitpick and hate and dissect anything that they can to try to, is it over? The Patriots came in here a few years ago and got their ass whipped on Monday Night Football by the Chiefs. And, is it over? Is that the end of the Patriots dynasty? People just they like to see new teams. They like fresh blood. They like parity. It's one of the things that makes the NFL so popular. So I think that's a lot to do with that. But Chiefs in first place. Some of the contenders, the Broncos, they, after an impressive win against the Cowboys, had a bad performance and lost a game. So Chiefs are trending up. It looks like maybe the Raiders and the Chargers are trending down. What do you guys, just Bo, and then we'll go to Nick. How are you feeling about the Chiefs' chances of winning this division and where they stack up in the playoff race in the AFC overall?
I've never been worried about the division. My main focus has been more long term, like where are we going to be at in the playoffs? The AFC, like I said last week, is trying their hardest to give us that number 1 seed back, or at least the opportunity to go get it back, with everybody just choking and, the top contenders, like you said, trending down. We're starting to trend back up. I mean, we look great. There's no reason for us to not win out. I mean, I'll say it here. I think we could do it. Our toughest game's going to be next week, I feel like, after looking at our schedule. We'll get to the Cowboys game here in a minute. But yeah, the AFC West looks terrible. Other than us, like it looks like it just completely flipped. I love the talking heads. Like 2-3 weeks ago, as like John was alluding to, everybody's saying Chiefs are dead, they're broken, they're done and out. You know what I mean? What happened to them? I can't believe this is going on. Look at Justin Herbert. Oh my God, he's amazing. The Raiders are number 1. Blah blah blah. I was so tired of it because the 3 of us saw it. They were terrible teams playing terrible teams. Like, and of course, if they win, they're gonna get a win.
Right.
But I mean, it's finally starting to even itself out. Everybody's regressing back to the mean. Us included. I mean, our mean is way higher than everybody else's, and we've been below it for so long now that we're regressing up. So it's great to see that. I'm just hopeful for this number 1 playoff spot, or this number 1 seed. I think it's still a possibility. I know it's a crazy mathematical possibility, but I'm hopeful. I think every team is trying their hardest to let us get a bye week, that week 1 in the postseason.
Nick?
Yeah, I mean, I think that overreactions are what drive clicks, right? We've talked about it before. The way that people have talked about Patrick Mahomes this year, you would think that he was, a bottom, performing QB. I know that some teams have had bye weeks, but right now he's leading the league in passing yards and he's second in touchdowns to Tom Brady. At 27, Mahomes has 25. Now, that, like I said, I think Brady's played 1 less game, so he's having a hell of a year. But I mean, he's right up there, right? I mean, statistics wise, the Chiefs have had a really tough schedule. We have a division where everybody is at or above 500 right now, and we're winning that division. We've had to play the Titans, who are number 1 seed right now in the AFC. We've had to play the Bills, who are, I believe, are the 2nd seed. We've had to play the Ravens. I believe the Ravens are tied or winning their division, right? The Chargers are starting to fall off, but the Chargers had a very strong start to the year. They're a good team. So, I mean, we've had to play a lot of tough teams. We had to play, Green Bay, broke our way that we didn't have to play them with Aaron Rodgers. You can say what you want about the game that didn't happen. It seems like the games that, you didn't have to play are always a lot harder in the eyes of everybody else. But we all saw what Aaron Rodgers, did this past week. He didn't look great. And now we have to play the Cowboys. I mean, we've had a really tough schedule compared to some of the other teams in this conference. And we haven't had one of those games like, Baltimore and Miami or the Bills and the Jags, where we've really just lost a head scratcher to an inferior team. So, I mean, I think the future is bright. We just have to build on this. There are still a few things from this past game that, are kind of worrisome. We got away with, right before that questionable pass to Williams for the touchdown, there's a, almost should have been interception, right? That really was a bad pass. So, I mean, the good news is that we have things that we could do better, and we won 41-14, right? So, the ceiling on this team is just incredibly high. I mean, and I think part of the reason that you see people act like the Chiefs are like one of the worst teams in the NFL is just because, like we've said before, right? I mean, it's just the expectations are so high. They've been to 2 straight Super Bowls. They won 1 Super Bowl. They put up points like crazy. And so when they perform like an average team, it just seems like they're awful. So, I mean, I don't know that the 1 seed, because I think at this point we were 3 games behind the Titans. The Titans, have held it together after losing Derrick Henry. But I mean, I think that, I do agree with you, Bo, that we could win out. I think that it's that time of year where we're starting to put things together and, look out if we can eliminate these stupid mistakes. So it's not that unfeasible to think that we could end up with the 2 seed and maybe the 3 seed at worst. So,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, obviously you want to be in first place right now in the division. You want to be playing better football in the second half of the season than the first half of the season. You see this a lot of times with teams, they peak too early. But I'm a little concerned about the AFC, the playoff race and the seeding, because if you look at the Chiefs, the teams that they're neck and neck in the race with right now, the Ravens beat us, they have the tiebreaker. The Bills beat us, have the tiebreaker. Titans beat us, have the tiebreaker. It's just going to be tough because you got to be 1 game clear of all of them,
right?
To try to get that 1 or even the 2 or the 3. You finish 1 game behind the Titans, and then you have the same record as the Ravens and the Bills. Well, guess what? Now you're down there at that 4 seed. So they got some wood to chop when it comes to the playoffs. But this team has also shown that they can win on the road. They were 8-0 on the road last year. Andy Reid this last couple of years, I should have looked up the overall, but they've been just as good, it seems like, on the road as they've been at home the last 2 or 3 seasons.
Right.
They're 14-2 last year. Their 2 games that they lost were both at home. That first one early in the year to the Raiders, and then the one at the end of the season, the week 16, that did matter against the Chargers. This team can go on the road and win. You saw they went on the road. They fumbled the game away against the Ravens. They should have won that game. That was a game on the road. So it makes it tougher. I never liked the playoff format where they switched it to where only 1 team gets the bye week. They had the best playoff format in all of sports as far as I'm concerned, and they tinkered with it and changed it for money. Let's just be honest, that's what they did. They wanted another wild card game. Get that extra game on TV, milk those networks for those extra dollars, sell some more tickets, sell some more concessions. I don't really like that. So being the 1 and the 2 is definitely a much more drastic change than it's been in seasons past. But you saw the Buccaneers, they were a wild card team. They went all the way and ended up winning the Super Bowl. So it can be done. The Chiefs can do it. It starts next week this week, game Sunday at home against Dallas's team. I'm not going to call them America's team. They're not America's team.
They're not America's team.
No, that's some shit from back in the 70s, and it's irritating as hell when you hear people say that, because I don't know anybody that's not from the Texas area that likes the Cowboys. So big game. It's at home. Chiefs have opened as slight favorites. How are we feeling about the game against the Dallas Cowboys this Sunday at Arrowhead? Nick?
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be the test, right? We kicked the shit out of the Raiders, but we all know that they've had their struggles. They've got an interim head coach. They've had some people that they've lost with off the field stuff, a distracted team, but a division opponent. But so we'll see. One of the interesting things about the Raiders game, and I know we're talking about the Cowboys, but this bleeds in, is that everybody's been saying that the Raiders weren't playing that cover 2. They were playing cover 3 with 1 high safety instead of 2, like a 2 shell. So it'll be interesting to see. I mean, I expect the Cowboys will try to do the cover 2 against us. So that's something to see, right? I mean, the thing is that, we were doing a lot of screen passes, short passes, timing quick throws. So, I mean, I don't know that that's really. I think people are making mountains out of molehills there, but
Yeah.
I think that this game is going to be more about what our defensive front can do with that monster offensive line that the Cowboys have, and can we win up front? Can we limit their running game with Ezekiel Elliott? Because if we can fall back into passing and where the play action isn't working for them because they don't have that run game going, I think that that's really the key to it. I feel confident. The Cowboys, they took a lot of risks against Denver trying to chase points that didn't pay off. I think they're going to be even more inclined to try to do that against us. So I would look for them to try to, convert some fourth downs, which hopefully, turns into our favor. But I mean, I'm feeling good about this game. I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be a high scoring game, but I think the Chiefs are going to come out with a win. What do you think, Bo?
I think our Chiefs offensive line has been studying the Cowboys offensive line because they looked amazing this last
Oh
week.
my gosh.
It's only going to get better, I hope, this week, and we're going to need it. Dallas has looked off and on, but when they're on, boy, do they look on, and when they're off, they look abysmal. So it's just kind of which team are we going to be able to play against? It's fascinating because like you watch them struggle, them being the Cowboys struggle against AFC teams, and then they go just trounce all over NFC teams. So I wonder if that's a thing, or if it's just more like a week to week thing. I really like our odds against the Cowboys. I don't think they have the defense. What do they have? One guy that's kind of like their showstopper. As long as they could kind of keep it away from his direction, it should be okay. I agree with Nick. Should be pretty high scoring. If our defense comes out though, the same defense that came out last week, I would expect something similar to what Denver did to them. Though.
Dak's a little bit more mobile than Derek Carr. He can get out and make plays with his legs. They've got an explosive offense, no doubt about it, with Ezekiel Elliott and that running game and that offensive line. CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, they've got some playmakers. They're perfectly capable of coming out and lighting up the scoreboard. Their defense are – like John says, the Cowboys doing good. That's lose, right? Yeah, for sure. I don't know. I don't know how the defense prepares for this Cowboys offense. I guess they'll probably just try to do what they've been doing and try to pressure Dak and get the ball out of his hands quickly. Maybe they can watch some tape on what the Cowboys did. Maybe they can watch some tape on what the Broncos were able to do to slow down that Cowboys offense. Cowboys are beatable. It's going to be a tough game. I like the Chiefs' chances, especially if the offense is clicking. And this whole, the Raiders, it was the way they played defense is why the Chiefs scored so many. Well, the Raiders, they kind of tried to do that deep coverage thing, and Travis Kelce and Darrell Williams were just fucking destroying them.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up.
Plays across the middle. So they kind of had to, abandon game plan there a little bit. You can't just keep letting them get 10, 15, 20-yard plays up the middle and 20, 30-yard screen passes over and over and over and over, which was encouraging. I've been waiting for that. So I don't know. Maybe the Cowboys watch that.
Sorry to cut you off, but this was kind of going along with what you're just saying, right? This is what I like about our offense that I saw last week, right? If they want to come out with that cover two, which the Raiders did try to do, you get drives of 11, 9, 10, 13 plays. And you're like, okay, we got to change something up. What happens? You stop running cover two, and then you get 8, 7, 7, right? Like I think the Chiefs are finally clicking. It doesn't matter what defense they bring at us now.
Yeah, you look at that first drive there, 11 plays, 89 yards. You don't have to be a math whiz to figure that's 8 yards of play. They're getting there. I'm not a big fan of depending upon that. But if they're going to give it to you and you can take it to, and all you got to do is capitalize a few times, though.
Right.
You just got to capitalize a couple times, and it'll make them stop doing that. John's got a comment. The crazy thing is that Dak's foot that fell off his, yeah. Yeah, there's probably
how mobile is he really with his leg? You think he has any like worry about getting creamed or like fucking up his leg again or something?
You always hear that it's you always hear players say when they come back from an injury, especially something like a broken bone or a torn ACL, it's always mental that comes back last. Trusting it. It's surgically repaired structurally, physically, it's fine. It's the mental aspect of it, trusting it, like you just said, Bo, feeling comfortable with it. Yeah, get back there and harass him, and get in there and shut that run down. The Green Bay Packers had a good line with a good run game. A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones are nobody to sneeze at. That's good competition. They were able to keep them contained. The defense we were talking about a little bit ago, with Chris Jones back in the middle and Frank Clark and those guys. This is a winnable game. I'm not going to say it's must win, but you don't want to like do what the Chargers and the Raiders have done here and let the Chiefs hang around. Now you don't want to let the Chargers and the Raiders hang around and lose a game or two and keep it close to the end. You got to kind of put your foot on their neck and keep winning and put the pressure on them to keep pace with you.
Yeah.
I didn't see John's comment there. Nick, threw one or both.
Oh, yeah.
Back up.
It says, not sure, but I feel like if I'm closing my eyes for him, then he's terrified. My favorite thing was after his injury, they were talking to Alex Smith about it because, Alex Smith famously had the worst, experience. And they're like, did you talk to him? And he's like, I thought about reaching out to him, but then I thought if you're in that situation, like you probably don't want me to be the guy. Like, hello, friend.
Yeah,
hey,
exactly.
We had similar things happen to us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Putting visions of his head where his leg had no meat on it. Looked like he got mauled by a bear. And if you've never seen that Project 11, I think it was called on ESPN, that was one of the most amazing things I've ever seen.
Miraculous.
As far as football goes. And not just football, human spirit and the will to overcome, and what Alex Smith came back from is just it's beyond belief what that guy did. So kudos to him. He was at the game too. I know John B and those Niners fans, they got some love for Alex Smith. He came here from there. And Alex Smith can't say enough good things about that guy. But back to the Cowboys game, I digress there a little bit. Yeah, just get out there and harass him and make him run. And if he's not trusting that leg, if he's a little wary, a little leery, sticking there in that pocket, maybe force him into some mistakes, some bails out early, especially, on third down. Maybe you can try to do what they did against the Raiders there and get them off the field on third downs. I like the Chiefs' chances.
Me too. I haven't watched many of the Cowboys games this year. Is Dak known for running this year? Has he been mobile like that? Is he like extending plays and going through
I have not watched a lot of their games. He got hurt though. I know previously he's a mobile guy. He can run and he's got wheels on.
Yeah, he's a professional.
That's how he got hurt, was a design running play, because the Cowboys would do that with him because he is good at it. I don't know if the trust factor, if he's back to 100%. That was a gruesome injury, man.
Yeah. I guess the reason I'm asking is because I feel like one of our biggest weaknesses defensively is a mobile quarterback, right? And I know what you're saying. Dak is a mobile quarterback, meaning that he's faster and maybe dodge a tackle or two, right? But he's not going to Lamar Jackson us. You know what I mean? They're not going to come.
No.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I don't think he's that caliber of mobility.
He can get out there and make plays with his legs if something breaks down, or if they do that design stuff with him. But maybe they learned their lesson about that with the injury that he suffered last year. Yeah, he's definitely not Lamar Jackson, but he's also not Tom Brady. A statue planted to the ground in the pocket. So
I do agree with you, Bo. It seems like these guys, we just can never seem to get them down, right? We get into the backfield and we just, they're just too elusive for our guys. I do have a couple of comparison points here I'm going to pull up that we can discuss. for Mahomes and Dak. So, passing yards per game, they're, right at the same, 294 to 292. The advantage there, it's a push, right? They're right the same. Passing touchdowns, Mahomes has 25, Dak has 20. Mahomes has played a couple more games, one because Dak was injured, one because of, I think, the bye week. We give the edge to Mahomes here because, in our unbiased opinion, we believe that the best ability is availability. So that's our totally unbiased opinion as a Kingdom cast here.
Yeah.
Interceptions, Dak has half as many interceptions as Mahomes. If you've watched our previous shows, you understand that we're not pinning a lot of those on Patrick. I think he has 5 that have gone right through somebody's hands, one time off of somebody's head, right into a defender's hands. So still give them they still count though. So we give Dak the advantage there. An interesting stat here is career record versus winning teams. Now, I didn't go through every game this year. These were stats entering into the season. But Mahomes has a winning record against winning teams, and Dak has a losing record against winning teams.
Interesting.
So that's something to keep in mind, right? Dak's a good quarterback, but he struggled against tougher competition. And then probably the most important stat that we have, was losing by 30 at one point to the Teddy Bridgewater Broncos. Nope. Mahomes has never been trailed by 30 to the Teddy Bridgewater Broncos, and Dak was. So we give the advantage to Mahomes there. So,
right.
I don't know what your guys' thoughts are there, but those are our stats this week. Keys to the Kingdom.
Right. 100% agree with you on those ones.
Yeah, those are interesting. The quarterback wins thing is a little misleading. Wins are so much team related. You look at Patrick Mahomes when he was in college, and he had a losing record against winning teams, but he also had games where he threw for 750 yards and 6 touchdowns and lost. So, but yeah, the Cowboys are known for that. Cowboys are known for throwing a bunch of yards and touchdowns and losing. Their defense can be had. The defense is not spectacular. I know a lot of people would say, "Oh, well, the Chiefs' defense isn't spectacular either." They've been trending upward the last few weeks. Looks like maybe the Cowboys' defense is trending down with some of the point totals. Like you said, if Teddy Bridgewater's throwing up 30 on you, you got problems. So, yeah, I think the Chiefs are favored to win the game. They should win the game. Does that mean they will win the game? Not necessarily. What else you guys thinking about coming up here with this game? Anything particular to be watching for?
I just think that when you're talking about a close game and you're unsure, right? There's really 2 things that I think about. One is when unsure, go with the home team, right? That's wisdom passed down from my father during football picks. The second thing is, coaching advantage. If you're talking about 2 close teams.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And we got Mike McCarthy versus, Andy Reid. John V says I got to go, but I'll listen to the rest in a few hours. Much love, dude. Appreciate you tuning in, John. It's always fun to.
Thank you, John V.
Yeah, check out John V's show, Locker Room Rant. It's hilarious. It's really good stuff. It's good. Funny. Those guys know their stuff, and it's funny. I laugh my ass off all the time. So check out his thing. It's called the Locker Room Rant. You can find him on Twitter and IG and YouTube. Just Google Locker Room Rant. Check his stuff out. He's a really good dude. I like John a lot. He's the king of Ohio Niners fans, as I like to call him. So
I appreciate the love, John V.
But anyway, so I think that the Chiefs are at home and they have better coaches, right? The play this year. The play this year, between Dak and Mahomes, I know that Dak is, a hot MVP candidate. As you can see, the stats to me that matter, the yards per game and the touchdowns is pretty close between the 2. And so, but I still give Mahomes the advantage. He's a better quarterback. He has a better track record over the past several years, not just this season. So, I just think that all that adds up to a Chiefs win, so.
That's an interesting point you brought up. I hadn't thought about the coaching disparity in the
right.
is fucking like the Grand Canyon.
Right.
Andy Reid, he's got his qualm. There's things that we nitpick with him with some of his clock management or play calling from time to time that but he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. And Mike McCarthy is like if you had your uncle coaching the team. The guy's a bonehead. He had Aaron Rodgers for how many seasons and went to one Super Bowl? Give me a break, dude. Like, yeah, he's. Did you see the story about Jerry Jones or the interview with him after they lost
him
the
lying
game? He was like, "Yeah, I was in there. We talked about the game plan, and we wanted to." And it's just like, dude, you've got Jerry Jones in there helping you game plan for the fucking game. Like, it's obvious why he's there. He is and so I'm just sold now. Yeah, Chiefs. I'm not worried about this game at all anymore. Now that Nick brings that point up, I mean, you could not have a greater gap and advantage than the Chiefs have in coaching in this game coming up, no doubt.
Yeah, what they lack in coaching, though, they kind of make up for in superstar talent, man. Like you were mentioning earlier, that team's loaded. Our defense is going to have their hands full, but like I was alluding to earlier, if our defense that we had last week comes out to play, I think it'll be a great game.
Yeah, but I still take the Chiefs' star power over the Cowboys. I'll take Tyreek Hill over Amari Cooper or CeeDee Lamb. I'll take Travis Kelce over whoever their tight end is. I'll take Pat over Dak. You'd probably take Ezekiel Elliott over Darrell Williams, or maybe CEH. Maybe he comes back this week. He could have come off of IR and he was practicing with the team, but I don't think he was active. He definitely didn't play, so that's something to keep an eye on. But you'd probably still go with their running game and Zeke over Clyde. But really, I mean, now that we're sitting here talking about it more and more, Chiefs, they've got the advantage almost across the board. So yeah, be a interesting game. Win this game, get to 7-4, and the Chiefs are in great position.
What a different story all the talking heads would have on every network if we go to 7-4, right?
It'd be worth it just to see Skip Bayless lose his shit alone, right? America's favorite troll.
I can't remember who does it. There's a YouTube channel that I saw where they just do mashups of like all the talking heads in the beginning of the season and then like after the fact, right? And just like how blatantly wrong they are. You know what I mean? Like these guys are so certain, they're so adamant, and they make all these points. This is gonna happen. I remember one guy, Justin Herbert's gonna be MVP, right? And like just I can't wait for the end of this year, the little mashup that they're gonna have.
Jimmy Johnson saying that if they were starting the league over, he'd take Justin Herbert over Patrick Mahomes. You should be fired for making that take. I mean, dude, you're getting paid and handsomely paid at that, and that's your take,
right?
But again, it's just haters. I put this out on the Kingdom Cast thing. There was someone this guy said, "Oh, Patrick Mahomes has been wildly inconsistent, and then he has one good game." And I'm like, wildly inconsistent. The dude's second in passing yards and second in passing touchdowns. I think he was before last night's game, so he was first in yards ahead of Stafford there. So that's amazing. He can do that in one game. Throw for 3,000 yards and 25 touchdowns in one game. But yeah, I mean, haters are going to hate and ballers are going to ball. That's what's going on there. But they came out, man. They looked good. They kicked the Raiders' ass, man. And
didn't they?
To me, I'll take that over Christmas. I will cancel Christmas if it means the Chiefs are going to go and whip the Raiders' ass once or twice a year. I'll take it, no doubt. I don't know. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about before we jump out?
Yep. We mentioned it earlier. I just want to play the video of it. The fake punt we ran. Tommy Townsend, 100% career completion percentage.
Shout out to Tommy Townsend, better hair than Trevor Lawrence.
So I just wanted to show this fake punt real quick.
The pass downfield is a little bit long.
That he can't run down is a bullet.
Low snap. Tommy Townsend's going to throw, and it's going to be caught for a first down. Marcus Kemp makes the grab. So on a 4th and 7, Tommy Townsend throws it to the outside, and it's Kemp making the grab and picking up the first down, 17 yards.
Literally impossible if you are a single guy out there. A lot of times they'll put 2 guys out there on the gunner. A single guy, you have no idea, right? The other guy is going to go right to the sticks and turn around. And this was a fine throw right here by Townsend.
I think the amazing thing about that play is that snap is really low. He catches that ball right at his shins, ankles area, and still picks it up and makes the throw. I guarantee you can talk to every quarterback about how hard that is to do.
Yeah, you can see the receiver Kemp put the brakes on there, and like the Raiders defender is like, oh shit, he can't stop as fast. He can't stop his momentum as fast. You can tell he knows like instantly that it's going to be a fake. And Townsend takes the low snap and then throws a dart. Man, that was a bullet. It was a good pass. I hit him right in the numbers and hit him in the hands. He caught the pass and made the play. And so, yeah, you had a little insult to embarrassment, or a little insult to injury, rub a little salt in the wound on the Raiders there. You're never going to hear me complain about that, no doubt.
The reason I wanted to highlight that is because that was finally the first time I can remember in the past 2 years where like we put the pedal to the metal, right? Like instead of just punting it away and trying to let the defense do their thing, they're like, you know what? No, we're going to try to put this game away right now. And that's what I really appreciated about that play call. The play itself, Tommy Townsend, I guess Andy Reid at a press conference, he said that he practices that play every single game. He's been or every single practice. He's been practicing it since mini camps. So, I mean, like he was ready for it. That's awesome to hear.
Yeah, I guess some fans said they saw him throwing passes on the sideline too, which it's like kind of funny. Telegraphing a little bit. Maybe.
Warming his arm up. I don't know if that's such a good idea, though. Obviously, it didn't hurt him. It didn't come back to bite him. Yeah, you wonder, like, why is the punter over there throwing dimes? That's a good point you make, Bo, about him being able to take that low snap. I wonder if he's supposed to maybe punt the ball if the snap is low or back, because they've got contingencies on all those trick plays.
Right.
Look, if this dude don't bail out, or if there's 2 guys that go with this gunner, or if the snap is low, you're supposed to punt it. So he hung in there, made the play. It
almost like helped him out. It almost made it look more realistic, like he was going to kick it.
Oh, that was great. And like that's got to be a stressful thing, being the punter and being put in that position. You've got to throw a dart, and it's not a short 4th down either, right? I mean, and that was right on the money, like you said, low punt or low snap, and he's got a perfect completion percentage for his career now. He's thrown 2 passes for 2 completions and 2 first downs. So shout out to Tommy Townsend.
Yeah, that's the cherry on top, bow on the package, whatever you want to call it.
The stats website that I use, they threw up his stats for passing in that game too. They made it a point to put him under passing stats. I thought that was pretty funny.
It's funny.
What's his rating on a play after a play?
So I mean, there's a bunch of factors that go into the rating, but he had a 118.8. But there's quarterbacks that play whole games that have worse ratings than that.
Yeah, Drew Lock would love to have a 118 passer rating, I'm sure. So he wouldn't be playing behind Teddy Bridgewater. But that was a lot of fun, guys. It feels good, man. Back in first place. Kick the Raiders' ass. Got things moving in the right direction here. So we want to thank everybody that tuned in, joined us, John V, everybody else. I appreciate it. We appreciate it. Checking out the channel. If you didn't do it at the beginning of the show, click that like and subscribe button. Turn on those notifications. Follow us on all the social media platforms at The Kingdom Cast. I haven't done a poll here in a week or 2. I need to get more active on there and get some more people involved here, because like we always say, it's the Kingdom Cast. It's not the Scott and Nick and Bo cast. So we would love to have everybody jump in, shoot us some comments, send us some messages. And again, if you haven't checked out John V, our friend, our good buddy there, his show, The Locker Room Rant, check that out. We'll be back. I'm not sure. We might have to do Sunday. I don't know how we'll do the picks. We might have to do maybe Friday night or something, because Nick and I got some family stuff going on, some family event thing kind of planned here this weekend, so we'll have to figure out how we're going to do that. But we'll get our world famous picks episode show in sometime before the games on Sunday. We want to thank everybody again for tuning in and joining the show. And let's go Chiefs.
Let's go Chiefs.